Hello, I'm not naked. It seemed appropriate to start this video with this makeup, so hence why I'm here again. If you want to see how I created this makeup, that will be the previous video. You want to check that out, or I'll put it in the description down below. I'm pre-filming weeks and weeks in advance. I've mentioned this. But in this video, I'm going to show you guys how I crafted this Sukuna finger. If you can see that, I know it's dark in here. I'm very proud of how I did this. I almost gave up halfway through because it's so much detail and I was just getting frustrated because detail not really my forte, but I'm glad I stuck it through and I created something that is it's so fucking cool. I don't know if I created this too big or I just have small hands, because I do have small hands. So my finger compared to this finger, it's just quite a big difference. So if you would like to see how I created Sukuna's finger, then stay tuned. I am starting out with a bunch of tinfoil as the base of the finger. Using this for the majority of the finger will make it nice and lightweight, because I want to have the option of putting this in my Ita bag as decoration, or carrying it around, or hanging up in my room. So we don't want it too heavy. You totally can use all clay, but just keep in mind it's going to be a lot heavier. And if you did want to put it in an Ita bag like I possibly want to do, just be aware it might, add unneeded weight to your bag. The only oven baked clay I have is white right now, just because I don't mess with this as much as I used to. You could totally buy purple to make painting easier, but I just like white so I can use it for multiple different things. And I'm rolling it out as thin as I can. I probably should have used a bit less aluminum foil, just because the clay will add some more, I guess, girth, if you want to use that. It's the only word that can come to mind. I'm texturing the base of the finger. I am using reference pictures. There is a finger you can buy on Crunchyroll's website, so if you don't want to make it, I don't know at the time of me recording this if it's still up there, but it is really detailed, and I basically screen captured that finger, and that's what I'm using as reference, because you get a bunch of different sides, and I wanted to try my best to make this look as realistic as possible. I'm kind of jumping all over the place with details because I get kind of bored and frustrated when I spend too much time on one thing, so now I'm jumping to the fingernail. And I did make this a bit thinner than I probably should, but it was kind of difficult. Not make a fingernail incredibly thick so it wouldn't be brittle, but I ended up making it pretty thin, so it was pretty brittle, and part of it did snap off, but fortunately it wasn't too much so it doesn't take away from the finger. Now I'm using a bunch of dotting tools. If you don't have dotting tools, you can use toothpicks, the end of a makeup brush, or a paintbrush. You can use a bunch of different tools you have lying around. You don't have to buy dotting tools, but this is what I already own. There's a bunch of bumps and mostly grooves on the finger that I'm trying my best to replicate. Like I mentioned, this amount of detail is really not my forte. I get very frustrated and really bored of it easily, but I really wanted this to look just as best as I could. There's honestly more detail on one side than there is the other because I kind of gave up. Now I'm adding just a bit of, I guess it's veining, but not really. It's the end of the finger kind of looks a little tendril-like, so I'm adding grooves here and there, even though there's not as many grooves on the base of it, just because I don't want to bulk up the base of the finger too much. So if you don't want to add too much on the base of it, try incorporating more indents to counteract, I guess, the amount of quote-unquote veining you will have to put on the base of it.
Now I'm adding a bit of the tendrils. A lot of this is just trying to add a lot of base shapes to the finger here and there, and then taking the thinnest end of one of my dotting tools, again you could probably use a toothpick, and adding a lot of scratches to it just to give it a lot more detail and really focus on those scratches and make them a bit uneven, because later we're going to add some black paint, and so the black paint will get trapped inside those the black paint will get trapped inside those grooves, and it'll really make it pop and add a bunch of detail and dimension to the finger. Follow the directions on the oven baked clay package that you got, but I put mine in 275 degrees Fahrenheit for roughly 15 minutes, but I still was constantly keeping an eye on it because I didn't want to accidentally burn it. Next, I'm just taking some acrylic paint. I'm mixing red and purple to give it a more warm based purple color. And a bit more white just to lighten it up, and just getting all the grooves. As you can tell from my fingers, not too concerned with it being neat. It's supposed to look gross. And for the black paint I mentioned earlier, add more water than I did. I added a lot less. Very fluid, watery black will sink into the lines a lot better. And then you want to wipe off as much excess as you can. Some of the purple paint will rub off. That's fine. You could always touch it up a little bit later. But my first go at the end, I actually had to go back in and add some more purple and then add a little bit more black. As you can see right here, I'm adding a little more purple detailing because it just was too dark. So when I tried to film the end part, like, you couldn't really see the purple or the details of the finger. So I didn't water down my black enough. Definitely don't do what I did. This is the finished finger. Like I mentioned, I'm really proud of myself. If you plan to create a finger as well, a Sukuna finger, please let me know. I would love to see how you did. If you want to tag me on Instagram and Twitter, that is on my link tree in the description. And anyways, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed and hope to see you all next time.